another Kamikaze creation video. I've been doing a little bit of work on the little 202 behind me, as you can see there, and I'll walk you through the process. So on the cam data, it says I should be 1 tooth advanced on the cam. And as you can see down here, let's see if I can get my finger on it. Here's the 0 mark here, and here's our dot, which usually lines up with that 0 mark. These are an adjustable gear set, and I'm reusing this gear set because they're steel and there's nothing wrong with them. So we've marked the next tooth up, and we've proved this, and I'll show you how we proved it. So the next tooth up, we put the mark, which is 1 tooth advanced, and we've lined up our timing marks for this cam, which you'll know if you've looked at the videos. It was a custom built cam out of a billet stock, and it is designed for this motor. So all the cam specs are designed for this motor, and it took me a while to work out forwards or backwards from this 0 mark. I had it set down on this tooth originally, and then we tested it with a dial gauge and a little cut-off lifter and proved that we were wrong. So I'm on the compression stroke at the moment, and we're 1 tooth advanced, and it's pretty much ready to seal up. Now the other thing, I had a good mate come over the other day, and I've been so focused on getting this timing right, I hadn't really noticed it, but up inside here, and I've put the cam back in now, and you can see the cam retainers sitting in these holes. Just along from that hole, just up in here, is a Welsh plug, a 5/8 Welsh plug. Now I nearly missed that. When Terry was over here, he was looking at the cam timing and noticed he could see straight through the block, because I'll show you out the back as well. There's none of the Welsh plugs in the back because it's been sitting on this engine stand. But yes, it would have been very easy to miss that one, which means you to have absolutely no oil pressure at all. So just here, you can sort of just see it up on the edge. I'll see if I can get in there. It gets a bit dark, but you can just see it up in there. Little 5/8 Welsh plug. And because I didn't pull this engine apart, I wasn't really looking for it in the front. And I would have noticed the back, but I still may have missed that front if I had have got the cam gear in there and locked it up. So that was a good save by Terry. It shows you can just get too focused on stuff and start missing other little things. Not something I've ever done, is had to replace those. It's all been, I've had other engines built, but the Welsh plugs have been put in for me. So that was a scary little miss. But anyway, I'll show you the back of the motor. So you can see here, I've still have them. This is a 2-inch Welsh plug, and there's another one on the end of the cam, which is a 2-inch Welsh plug. And there's, in the back of the motor, it's actually screwed in. So there's a little plug that goes in there, and I can show you it on an old 202 I got down the back, and I've ordered one of these. I'm pretty sure they're just a pipe thread, which is the same as the thread on the pickup, the oil pickup in the sump, which I also have to plug, and we'll have a talk about that in a second. This is an old 202 sitting down the back. I've pulled a few little bits and pieces off it, but here's, there's the 2 Welsh plugs in the back, and here's that screw-in plug, and it has a square head. It's about 8mm square head, and it's as tight as. I haven't got a tool to get that one out. I could put a bit of heat on it and make something up, but they're pretty cheap, so I just ordered a new one. So what we did to check that cam in its position, and I really don't need to degree wheel it now, even though I could with the ATI harmonic balancer that I got with the timing cover. and we can double check it that way. But Terry got me to cut off a little push rod, and you can see we've got the link bar lifter sitting in there, and we just rotated it up to top dead center, and on the cam data it said 0.054, so 54 thou, which is about 1.2 mil, and that's the lift we got when we came up. And I'll show you that cam data. So you can see here, install this cam 1 tooth advanced with the intake lift rise of 0.054 at top dead center. So 50-40 thou is 1 mil, and you got another 14 thou there, which is about 0.2, about 0.25, something like that. Can't do that quickly in my head. But anyway, we've checked that and we've got it, and it's looking good. So with that cam timing all sorted out, I can now get all of these lifters in. I've slipped the cam back in, obviously. I can get all of these link bar lifters in and seal the covers up on the side of the motor. But the big goal is getting that timing cover on and getting the race sump on. So this is the ASR race sump, which you will have seen a few times, which has an external pickup. So I'll show you some of the considerations when you start doing this. And I've learnt so much in doing this motor. I said to Terry the other day, you modify one thing and it's a cascading effect. And believe me, I've learnt on the fly. I haven't known this stuff. I've had to do a fair bit of research, and I've made mistakes through the way. Don't be scared of making mistakes, because that's how you learn. So we'll have a look at what I've got to do and what I've got to seal off to stop that pickup coming from the original oil pickup, which is inside the sump, and this one's going to an external pickup. So I need to block off where the oil pump would normally pull from. So here's my list of parts, all lined up on the table, my link bar lifters. But the first thing is getting this Swan Racing billet cover on the front of the engine, and then I'll be flipping the whole motor over, and I'll show you what I've got to do in around the sump to seal off these ports, and then I'm right to whack that sump on, and it'll be pretty much sealed up other than getting that head on. After a little bit of searching, I found the timing cover gasket that came with the new timing cover. So I'm just going to get that set up. I'm also going to use a bit of this on the sealing up of the motor. So the Loctite 515, it's like a gasket maker, more advanced version of the old Stag that I used many years ago when I was a young fella. But yeah, I'm going to whack a bit of that on both sides and then seal this sucker up. I've already done the gasket and sat that on the motor, but here's a nice little smear of that 515 Loctite, and ready to seal this timing cover up finally. This is a momentous occasion to finally start sealing something up. So whacked a bit of 515 on that gasket, and I bought new stainless steel socket-headed cap screws to fit on Swanee's cover, but it's looking good. First part sealed up. Now I'll flip the motor over and have a look at these oil galleries that I've got to seal up before I can put the sump on. I just thought I'd get all these link bar lifters in while I've got it up this way as well, just using up parts, getting them off the table and cleaning everything up. I'm using a fair bit of assembly goo. It's an engine assembly lube by CSR on everything as I'm putting it together, just for that initial startup. And for those that doing this, I saw something on the Holden 202 site the other day about any way to do these. And the only way I know how to do them efficiently and effectively is when the block is stripped bare in that machining phase. I had my engine workshop do that for me as part of the build process when it was down there. And he's just milled those lugs off. And you do have to buy new bolts to go in. You need a longer bolt. The thread in there is pretty good. There's enough thread, but you do need a longer bolt to hold those side covers on. And the bolt will actually stop these falling out when I flip the engine over, because I did that earlier on, flipped the engine over and they all fell out. I had to give them all a good clean up before I fitted them back in. Anyway, just thought I'd show you that process before I seal those up. So I've just laid the motor over so I can start putting these side covers on. As you can see, the link bar lifters sitting in there. Much easier to put these covers on with it laying down. And plenty of goo in around there, assembly goo. And back down to that timing cover, which is now on, nicely bolted. Pretty happy with the progress. Get this other one on, and then I'll flip it over and start looking at the bottom end and the sump. Here's the old ASR sump, getting ready to go on. If we come over here, we've got that timing cover rubber seal on, sitting in nice. Got the gasket sitting in there with plenty of gasket goo. And you can see I've sealed off the oil pickup there with a brass plug, and I've put Loctite on that, screwed it in. I wasn't sure about it, so I took it back out again, checked it, thread looks good, put some Loctite back on it and screwed it back in, ready to fit the sump. The sump is all on, and I used all new zinc plated bolts all the way around it, both sides. And I used a sealant. You saw that earlier. The sealant actually was a Toyota sealant. I picked up a few years ago and it's still in good condition. And I didn't put it on the rubber gasket as you saw, but what I did do was just put a good bead of it, because I haven't had any oil in it at this stage, a good bead around that front face, just to get a good seal on there, just in case there were some areas. I did notice when I was putting the sump on, some of the holes I really had trouble lining up, and it could have just been a function of having this sump built and there's been a little bit of shrinkage in the original flange. So all I did was ground a little chamfer on the end of the bolts for the ones I was having trouble with, and just continue to put downward pressure on them and screw them in. They are a pain in the neck to get in, because you're going through the cork gasket as well. So any misalignment in the cork gasket, and then there was a little bit of misalignment in the actual holes in the sump flange. There was 3 or 4 that I really had trouble getting in, but I just had to take my time, work with it, and it has come up really well. They're all sort of tensioned down. They could probably do with another light tension as that gasket goo hardens up and rubberizes, and just give it a nice little nip down in the end. But yeah, it's looking quite good, and it looks really good in around that joint there with that little bit that I put in there. Sorry, the focus is going out there, but that's great. So at this stage, I'm at a little bit of a standstill. I've got a couple of things I can do, but I am missing the nuts for these ARP studs, and I've got to put some sealant on the end in the block and screw all of those in. So that might be the next thing that I do. The head's just sitting there at the moment. But I've also got to buy some more ARP nuts because I'm missing them in the movement between the workshop that I had it at, the stripping process, and then getting it all back. And then over on this side, the other thing I'm missing is a blank off plate because I run a high pressure pump on this because it's actually fuel injected. And I also have a high volume oil pump, brand new one, but I have heard controversy over using the high volume. A lot of people say that the standard one is better. I'm really happy to hear from people about that, their experiences using high volume versus using the standard. And I still thought about putting a plug in the end here. I've sealed, as you saw, I've sealed this oil gallery off from the bottom end, and I think I might also seal it off from the top end, make up a plug and bang it in there to just get a good seal on that, because the oil pump will go on here, and then I've got an external pickup that'll run down to here. And as you can see, that sump is a lot bigger and will hold a lot more oil. I'm also, I think I've got a standard set of engine mounts, but on my past build, I used a lot better set of engine mounts. So it's here or there, and this engine I'm going to get running on a stand. So as I get it built up, I'm going to sit it on a stand, get it all wired up with the ECU and get it all set up and actually get it running, because that's the car that's going in and it's a long way off being built. So that's where I'm at the moment. The other things I've got to do is around the back. When I do get it off this stand, I've got to get those couple of Welsh plugs in the back and get the flywheel and pressure plate and all that on there, which I've got the flywheel, but I haven't got the pressure plate. So that's where I'm at before I can really move any further. I'm going to make this myself. I've got some aluminium sheet, so I'll mark this out, make that up and get that sealed off so I can do that. And I can get the harmonic balancer on there. I've got to get a second key in it. I've got two keyways in this snout here. But that's where it's at, people. Good progress, getting close to it being sealed up, which is something that I've been very keen to do. So if you've got any comments, got any advice, got any opinions, happy to hear them. I really appreciate all the comments and likes on the last video I did on this motor. One of my best videos I've ever put out. It's up to nearly 30,000 views, which is awesome, and that's due to your comments and your likes, because that helps the algorithm out on YouTube. So here we are, 202 build, making progress. Thank you very much, all you watchers, and I'll do another one very soon. Take care.